Hey folks, Deano here again. This time, finally, taking a look at a Gamma 1 from Figuarts. Yeah, to say this guy's been delayed for the UK has been a massive understatement. Finally got the shipment of him and Gamma 2 in the post. So yeah, the fact that I had to wait for Super Saiyan 4 Goku is one thing. Like, that's an anticipated figure, but to then have to wait for a figure that I'm not as keen about because they're one-off villains, but not really villains for one movie, sort of thing, kind of rubbed me the wrong way, not gonna lie. But yeah, enough of my rambling as usual. Let's take a quick look at the box, shall we? So we've got a picture of Gamma 1 on the side with a kind of horrendous looking pose. I don't know what Tamashi was going for there. None of the joints are hidden or anything. I'm aware it's one of the poses he does in the film, but they could have made it look better. Gamma 1 on the side. Tamashi seal. Designed by Tamashi Nations. 2022. Yes, that's how long this guy's been delayed for me. Superhero logo. Bandai logo. Picture on the back. Showing the many poses, including the Gohan accessory. We will get into that a bit later, because that's not amazing either. Yeah, get that box at the bay. And let's take a look at accessories, shall we? So first off, it comes with a pair of folded arms, which are quite nice. Always like it when they come with folded arms to give them a bit of personality. They are still a bit of a pain in the backside to put on this guy, mostly because of the sort of caps that were unnecessarily added to him. Those sort of catch on the joint. Yep, it comes with an array of hands. So we've got the posy sort of hands. I don't know why I called them posy hands, because they're just posy hands. A pair of splayed open posy hands. And a pair of gun holding grip hands, which surprisingly enough, unlike the Star Wars stuff, they've actually got them holding onto the gun. If we take one of these, this is the full gun, with the one on the side painted red, because for some inexplicable reason, even though Dr. Hedo is probably as much a genius as Dr. Gero was, he didn't give them the ability to shoot ki blasts. I don't understand that at all, especially when they can fly, because they can clearly manipulate ki to some degree. I don't get it. Yeah, gun just fits quite easily into the hand, he says, as he misses the gap. And yeah, holds out the trigger really well, just nicely. You'll notice there's another one on him that is literally just for show, typical Tamashi over-engineered fashion. It's a half of a gun that pegs in to the holster. Not sure why you couldn't have just had a gun that went into the holster, but hey-o. And lastly, it comes with an array of heads. One that's on him in the package is a sort of mute, couldn't care less sort of face. He also comes with his sort of disgruntled frown face, because Gamma 1 is the much more serious of the two. He comes with teeth gritted face, although you could kind of mistake that for a smirk of some description. I'm guessing it's just gritted teeth. Comes with yelling face, which doesn't really have much emotion, does it? Because the inside of the mouth is solid. And finally, you got the sort of surprised, oh man, what have we got ourselves into face? So yeah, that one's got much more expression. So yeah, that's decent enough. And finally, for accessories, he comes with the Super Saiyan Gohan face, which is actually a different sculpt to the one that comes with the Gohan figure. That doesn't make it good. That's all I'll say to that. That one comes with a stern face, comes with the teeth gritted face, and a yelling angry face. So yeah, we'll show that on Gohan in a little bit after we've had a look at this guy. So yeah, in terms of details, it's decent enough. There's not a whole lot of paint on here, to be honest. Most of it is just plastic. There's silver on the belt. The sort of buttons are painted grey, as is the paint on the sides. Red ribbon logo right there. And the paint on the face, which I don't know, something about it is off with the faces just in general. It's almost as if the grey that they've used is too dark, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But yeah, bit unfortunate, but something we can deal with. But yeah, the cape is unfortunately just a solid piece that plugs into the back. I thought Tamashii would have learned by now just to give the figures soft goods, because they're starting to do it with the Star Wars line and the Marvel line. They just don't seem to want to do it with the Dragon Ball one, which is by far their most popular line. But yeah, for the purposes of the review, we'll be popping that off for the rest of it. But yeah, apart from that, details are decent enough. On the topic of articulation, it's good. There's some weird parts to it though. He's definitely a finicky figure, if that makes sense. These caps on the shoulders are so annoying to deal with. Also, if you look under here, it looks like 3.0 articulation, but it can pop down. Like, what? What sort of engineering is this? Like, I give the bootlegs flack for trying to pretend they had 3.0 articulation. And here's Tamashii doing it. Yeah, you pull it out, you see that's nothing more than a cap hiding the ball pegs. Not sure what exactly is going on, but yeah, the two legs can pull down and back up, which is mind-boggling to me, to say the least. Seeing as how they don't need it, this is very soft rubber, so it gets out the way really easy whenever you're trying to do kicks or the like. So yeah, not entirely sure what they were thinking with that. But yeah, in terms of the articulation itself, you can look up really well, look down really well. It's one of those strange ones where if they have to replace the entire head, they just give you this sort of piece with a ball peg attaches to make it easier. And yeah, that's what I mean about being finicky. Like, the moment you try to put any sort of force anywhere, the whole figure just crumples and goes out of sync. But yeah, there is a lot of range in the head and neck, so happy there. There's a lot of range just in general with the figure. It's just finicky, to be honest. Arms can go up that far. Bicep swivel. Free rotation. You just need to move that cap. Double joint at the elbow gets the entire range of motion, which is almost unheard of for Dragon Ball figures. The hands are slightly different. They're the standard ball hinge, but if you look inside, can I pop that out? Yeah, it's a ball peg at the other side to give it a bit more range. So yeah, decent enough. The abs can go up really far. You can go down that much. You can see the joint in there. You can go back quite far as well, but that exposes the joint again. You can get a decent amount of movement without pulling it up. You can't really go forward though because the buttons get in the way. As for the waist, it can go back really far and forward a little bit on its own, and obviously swivel. Again, kind of a finicky joint because if you move it the wrong way, the belt moves. The holster is on, I think it's a ball peg. I'm not popping it off just in case I break something. The legs, as I showed, they can do pretty much the entire splits. If I move the gun out of the way, yep, there we go. So it's not as if the joint is hindered in any way, it's just a bit weird the way they've done it. There is thigh swivel up there. Double joint at the knee, gets almost full range. There's no boot swivel, but there is an ankle swivel at the bottom. It's just a double ball peg. Toe articulation, and it can get a decent enough pivot at the ankle. But yeah, all in all, a decent enough figure, if a little finicky, as I said. Now let's have a quick look at the Gohan accessories. Because yeah, by far the head that comes with this Gamma is far worse than what you get with Gamma 2, which is unfortunate considering the fact that Gamma 2 is the one who, spoilers if you haven't watched the film, I know it's a year old at this point, but you have to say it, he's the one that dies. So he's literally a one-off character. This guy survives, Gamma 2 doesn't. But yeah, the head just pops on nicely enough. Looks decent. You will notice if I bring in my other Gohan, you'll notice it's a different sculpt, at least on the front. Yeah, on the back as well. The spikes are different. So yeah, the faces themselves are the same, but for some reason they thought it necessary to completely resculpt the Super Saiyan hair. Yeah, unfortunately I won't be using it because in their wisdom they made it platinum blonde, which has zero shading on it whatsoever. Like, why, Tamashi? Can someone explain to me what was going through their heads when they thought, yeah, that'll do. Just do it in a platinum blonde plastic and leave it at that. People like that, don't they? But yeah, here's a Deonico Fit Gohan head, just as comparison. This is the colour, apart from their exclusives and the Super Saiyan 3, this is the hair colour of every other Super Saiyan Tamashii has ever made. Why have they suddenly decided to cast it in a completely different shade of yellow? I mean, I'm not really complaining. Like, I always loved the platinum blonde hairstyles. They really became prevalent around the Cell Saga, where they sort of powered down their aura. You could still see the yellow, and it was a really bright blonde. But yeah, Tamashii, this is not the time to be changing it. I mean, you've been doing it for over 10 years, the same one. That basically makes this head completely useless to me, because there's not a chance in hell I'm putting him in amongst the rest of them when he's not even going to look the same. I would much rather just pop on the demoniacal fit head, which, with a bit of finagling, does actually fit. There we go. And just have him in the display like that. But yeah, bit of a disappointment with that last bit. But you can't win them all, I suppose. I'm just happy to finally have the Gammas in hand after all this time. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for this review. Look forward to Gamma 2 shortly. Yeah, I'll see y'all later.